Hi, Jenn Tinline here from SamWithJenn.com. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this adorable tri-fold card that you could use for Valentines or just to say, I love you. I just want to show you how this opens up. Untie the ribbon here. And it opens up like this. And you can write your message on the inside. Now, a cool thing with the trifold card is you can take this panel here and secure it down at the bottom with a piece of sticky strip, and then it could become like a little pocket to hold a gift card or a little treat or something like that. And then that would still close up. So let me show you how to make this. For supplies, what you're going to need is the Best of Love stamp set, and you can see other projects I've done with this in my Best of Love class. Also using the Fresh Prints Designer pack stack from the Celebrate the Everyday Occasions catalog from Stampin' Up. Crumb Cake ink. I'm using a soft suede marker and a real red marker. A sponge. And I'm using the Simply Scored scoring tool from Stampin' Up. I'm using the regular plate and also the diagonal plate. For cardstock sizes for the base, you need a piece of real red. This is 10.5 by 3.5. And you need a piece of Crumb Cake that is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Piece of white that is 3 by 3. Piece of designer paper from that stack that is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Piece of white that is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Another piece of designer paper that is 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. Another piece of crumb that is 2 by 2, and another piece of white that is 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and then the ribbon. This is the thin taffeta ribbon from Stampin' Up. There's about 20 inches here, probably more than what you need, but I like to be generous with my ribbon. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with my Simply Scored scoring tool from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to take the red cardstock and I'm going to score it at 3 1/2 and 7, and I'm using the smaller tip of the scoring tool that comes with it. The bigger one I use for designer paper so that you don't break the designer paper. Then I'm going to put my diagonal plate in, and you will notice that there's an arrow going up, so you won't go with this. And then I'm going to lay this on here. Now I do find I find it's easier if I have a little ruler just to make sure I'm getting in the right groove. And what you want to do is, I'm just going to turn this around and face you, you're going to do a diagonal line from here to here and from here to here. So from the top left down on the end panels. So I just need to find the right groove here. That's when I like to use the ruler, just to make sure that I'm getting in there. And if I start down at the bottom corner and get in the right groove here, and then just make sure I'm lined up here, and away we go, right up to the corner. Perfect. And then, so I find if you just get that starting point, just make sure it's going to be lined up there with another. Okay, there we go, right up to the corner. Okay, then I'm going to fold this in, fold this in. This one's going to fold down. That's the front flap, and that's going to fold down. And that's how you form the front panel. So I'm just going to take this piece of Crumb Cake designer paper, and I'm going to line it up on my paper cutter so that I cut it diagonally. Should be able to see the tips in the window. So I can see the tip of that end of the paper and that end, and I'm going to just slice it up. Then I'm going to use my snail adhesive and just stick those on the front panels. So this is just a 1/4 inch shorter so that there's a nice little red border going on there. Okay, so for the actual stamping part, I'm going to take the small white piece and my stamp and my markers, and I'm going to ink the stamp up with my markers. Now when you're inking with markers, what you want to do is you want to start with the lightest color first, and that's just so that you don't get the darker color. Like if I already put the darker color on here, I might possibly pick up that darker color on my tip of my red marker. I don't want to do that. Whereas if I accidentally pick up some red on the darker color, it's just not going to wreck that marker. So I just colored the heart and the I love you in real red, and now I'm doing the olive. When you're using your markers too, use the markers on the edge, not right on the tip, because that'll preserve the tip. And then just give it a breathe, I call it the Darth Vader, before you stamp it. And that just re-moistens any ink that is dried. And there you go, look how cute that is. And you can even take, there's a little tiny tip on the other end of the marker, and you could color in that heart, make it even more pronounced. And then just because there's a lot of white showing, what I'm going to do is take my Crumb Cake ink and sponge, and I will sort of dab it off a bit, and then just ink up the edges. And that just takes care of any kind of too white space that's there. It also kind of goes with the grunge look of this polka dot paper. It's a bit grungy. Okay, so this is just a matter of assembly. So I will start with the smallest piece first. Go to the layer. Then the next one. I think I might want the stripes like that. And then the next one. Okay, and then these pieces are for the inside of the card. Okay, and I'm going to go on the inside so it's someplace for you to write your message. Okay, now here's the trick for the outside. First of all, you want to make sure that you have that one flap going this way, so if you do want to tuck, going down like this, so if you do want to tuck anything in there, you can. And then I'm going to take the ribbon, I'm going to just lay it like this, so I know how it's going to go. And then I'm going to push it back like that, and I'm going to put tape just here on one side, and not up too high. Flip the ribbon back over, and then I'm going to take this little piece here, and put it right on top. There you go, and then you can tie that. Now you notice this one I have a bit more of a gap here. I must have done one of my diagonals wrong. This one here, the original one, there's no gap. So it doesn't really matter, it still looks fine. But that's all it is I've just scored it a little incorrectly on the camera. So isn't that cute? And then it folds out like that. If you would like to see other projects done with this Best of Love set, the designer paper to make things like wedding cards, Valentines, and just to say I love you kind of cards, check out my Best of Love class. And know that I love you. Thanks for watching. To see more project ideas, go to stampwithjen.com.